Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, I recently bought a trailer for a camper I'm going to build. So I figured I would go over and go ahead and make a video on what I look for in a trailer, because I can't even tell you how many times I've been asked that question. Jay, what do you look for in a trailer when you go to buy one? Well, I just bought one and I'm going to show you what I look for. So this is a 4x8. So it's going to be a small camper, but it'll be a fun build. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's a trailer I just bought. You can see it's just a small 4x8. Found this on Facebook Marketplace for a reasonable price. I'm not going to tell you what I spent. A couple $100. It wasn't bad. My initial thought when I looked at the picture is that it was a Harbor Freight trailer with a few mods, but luckily I got there and found out differently. So with this, first thing I noticed when I showed up is it has a tube steel frame. See that? Tube steel. No angle iron, nothing like that. The only angle iron is what's there, and those are tie downs. The guy used to carry his four-wheeler on this. So it's not a bad looking trailer. The fender's got to go. Disadvantage, and I'll show you more on the other side, is the small 8-inch tires. It's even got a little battery box on it, or propane box, whatever. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave that or if it's going to come off. So that's the first thing I look for, is what kind of steel. This is all one-piece welded steel. There is no angle iron. Well, there is some angle iron on it, but it's just to hold the boards on, which are coming off anyway. And the biggest disadvantage for me is right here, is the little 8-inch tire. I don't really care for these. I mean, some pop-ups use these tires all the time and have no issues. I have some 5-lug hubs that I removed off of another trailer. I'm going to try to use them on this. Now, for that to happen, the bearings got to be the same, and the spindle's got to be the same. But another thing you're going to do is you're going to get down. You're going to take a look underneath. Now, you're not going to be able to see too much. But, yeah, it's a little rusty. But everything looks solid. All the rust is just surface rust. It's nothing to really worry about. I'm going to clean it up and paint it anyhow. So, that's definitely the biggest determining factors on whether or not I'm going to buy a trailer. If I see a Harbor Freight trailer, I pretty much run. Some people use them, have no issues. Some people use them and have all kinds of issues. Not a chance I want to take. So I'll take the time and look for a better trailer, even if I got to pay a little bit more for it. Hey, look, there's a black one sitting there. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to check the bearings, because I just bought this yesterday. Drove it about an hour to get it home. Felt the hubs when I got home, and they were nice and cool. So chances are everything's fine. But I'm going to pull it apart and check anyway before I build on it. Okay, I got you set up in a tripod now so I can work with my hands, and we're going to tear into this and see what it's all about. Like I said, it looked good. Everything looked fine. Felt fine when I got home. Nothing was warm. But we're going to take a look anyway before I build on it, because now's the time to fix it. So I'm going to put on some gloves here, because there is grease in there and I really would prefer not to get it all over. So I took the liberty and went ahead and loosened these a little bit. Trailer's on jack stands. Other side's ready to go too, but we'll just take it one at a time. Probably won't show you both sides. So these, the stud is, or it's a bolt, more of a, it's not a stud like the rest, like most normal trailer. And your car is the same way. It's got a lug stud instead of a bolt, which is fine, no big deal. The worst case scenario, we'll use these. We'll use this whole setup, but I really don't like these tires. And of course, there's always a one. It's going to give you trouble. Go grab a tool. There we go. The yellow jackets are going crazy out. And they like to bother me, and I'm allergic to them. So I just close the door, turn on some lights. It's unfortunate because I really like the warm weather we're having right now. Okay, get that off. I don't want to damage anything. There we go, little inky dinky out of the way. So next, we're going to take this off because we got to access the center nut. I don't know if my hubs are going to, oh, it's got bearing buddies. And of course, there's a snap ring. You can go ahead and clean up some of that grease so we can see what's going on in there. So there's a clip here. There it goes. There's a spring. Here's your little snap ring, spring. Little plastic washer. What we got back there? It's an O-ring, which is shot, so we'll be replacing that. And your bearing buddy cap. And then finally, I think we're into the nut. Try not to be in your way with my hat. Kind of pointless me trying to show you this. Alright, looks like I'm gonna probably be changing it anyway, because I just now noticed there's a little piece chunked out of there. And these are bearing buddies. I didn't know that until I took the cap off. So what we just went through really isn't necessary. You just got to kind of gently tap it off with a hammer. This whole assembly comes out, which is no big deal. It's still usable if we want to put it back on. There we go. Now it's out of the way. Now we can kind of get into what we're working with. Now there is a cotter pin in there. Some people call it a split pin. Same thing. And try to bend that out so we can pull it out. This one's probably a bit big. I could have used a smaller one. We're going to try to bend this back so it doesn't resist us as we go to pull it out. Okay, so I'll just try to tap that through to where you can get a bite. Pull the pin out. Put that aside. Now, with trailer bearings, now what happens next is probably gonna freak you out a little bit. Look, it's finger tight, okay? Most of the time, that's all you need is finger. What I'll do is I'll take it and put it snug and then back it off just a little bit. And that's all you need. So, I'm just gonna pull this out. Pull the center castle nut off, which is here, which needs a good cleaning, which we will do. And we're getting into the washer. And now the bearing. This is the outer bearing. And from just a visual inspection, they look new. They roll real nice. They definitely could use a repack of grease. This grease has seen better days, but the bearing's pretty good. And now the whole hub will come off, which will allow you to check the spindle. It's got an oil seal or a grease seal on the back, so could very well be difficult to get off. Usually not that difficult, which may be another problem. Let's see if I can give her just a couple love taps. Persuade her out. Shouldn't have to do that. It should pop right off. So, makes you wonder if something else is going on in there. There it goes. Just needed to pull really hard. Yeah, this bearing grease is shot. Seen better days and colors. And see, there's the oil seal. It's on the back, which pulled right out of the back of the hub. And that doesn't seem to want to come off. We're going to see if we can get it to come off. Wipe this up. Hopefully it's not the wrong bearing. It's on there pretty good. That's for sure. Definitely don't look new like the other one. I hope it's not fused to that. It shouldn't be pressed. It should pop right off. You might need to give it a little persuasion. I'm going to change them anyway. I think so. I might go ahead and just tap her home, tap it off. How I'm going to do that, get my great big set of adjustables. Try to get in behind there. Then I'll try to hit the adjustable with the hammer. There it goes. Maybe one more tap would have been a little more. Now I gotta close that up a little bit. I'm not trying to damage anything. If I damage anything, I want to damage the bearing because they're replaceable. Should not be that hard to come off. That's on there. This is one reason why I don't like bearing buddies, is because people tend to not maintain the bearings as good. They just shoot a couple of shots of grease in it and call it a day. And I'm here to tell you, you need to inspect them. I'm going to try to knock this off of here. If I don't get it with this turn, I'm going to shut the camera off, get it off, and bring it back. Got it. Because I beat on this, doesn't matter if it's good or not, it will get replaced. Doesn't look terrible. Make sure we keep that one aside. Actually, I'm just going to replace them both. I'm going to take the grease cap off now, which is blown out, which is fine. Not a huge deal. They are available. Yeah, it's pretty marred up. Should be the same bearing inside and out. Let me see if it's just the bearing. Now what you want to do is you're going to want to look in here, which is going to take me forever to clean up, and look at the race. Now the race is the metal sleeve that sits in here, and the bearing rides on that. You need to check that, because if it's all marred up, you either need to replace the race if you can, but most people just buy a new hub, which is fine too. There's one here, and there's one in the back too. I said it pulled fine. Everything was cool as a cucumber when I got here. It wasn't warm, and it probably would have been okay. But we're going to check anyway. Beside that, couldn't teach you anything if we didn't pull it apart, right? Yeah. I've seen better days. I'm going to go grab my 5-lug hub, change my gloves, and see if that will work here. Well, as you can see, I was not happy with the spindle on that trailer. So what I ended up doing was I ended up replacing the whole axle on it. It would cost like $150 from Southwest Wheel. They're not a sponsor, by the way. And I had it in like a week, so it didn't really slow me down too much. So basically, as an overview, I look for tube steel frame, and I also look for a welded frame. I'm not crazy about bolt together trailers. I usually bring a screwdriver with me and poke around on a frame with the screwdriver to check the rust to make sure it doesn't pop through. If it's flaking big time, you might want to walk away, but one way to know for sure would just be to take that screwdriver and try to poke through if you can. If you poke through, then you definitely don't want that trailer. Most of the time the trailers are in pretty good shape on the bottom side. I haven't found too many that I haven't been able to use. But you still want to look and make sure. So I hope this helps a lot of you. I've been asked this question a lot of times on what I look for in a trailer, and I hope that this video really helps. So until next week, build on.